嗨，大家好，欢迎收看我的视频。今天跟我先生出去，我们家的这个纱窗坏了，要让我先生拿到那个Home Depot呢去买一块纱安到上面。这块纱窗让我们小辉原来在外面给扒坏了，看上面扒了好几个洞。跟我先生一边走一边聊，让我先生聊聊美国现在内部的状况到底是个怎么样的。
As Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, is going around firing people and cutting whole departments, stopping the funding for entire departments. Many of these things are ending up in the court because the employees or other people are suing the federal government, saying that what Doge is doing is illegal or unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. So as Doge comes into court, the judges are asking, well, what is Doge? Is it a government agency itself? If it's not a government agency, the courts say, then you have no powers to do or say anything. You can't tell employees in other agencies that they have to leave work, that they have the opportunity to take early retirement. You don't have the power to make any declarations, make any statements on the behalf of the government if you're not a government agency.
Okay.
So then Doge says, well, then we are a government agency. Then the judges say, well, if you are a government agency, then when these people ask for all your records, you must comply with the law that says you have to hand over the records. Because we have federal laws that say that it's called a FOIA request, and that means that anybody can demand that the government release its records on any project, on any issue, on any decision. But Doge doesn't want that.
Yeah.
Because Doge says they're making these changes for efficiency. When actually we all know they're not doing it for efficiency.
Really?
They're simply getting rid of people and departments that they don't like. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not about waste, fraud, or abuse, because if it was, they would have brought up people on charges of fraud or abuse, but not a single person has even been charged yet, even though thousands and thousands and thousands have been fired.
Yeah.
So then the government, then Doge says, well, maybe we're not really a government agency. We are part of a government agency, but we don't really act like one. Our people are distributed all over the place, and they do whatever they think is necessary at the time. Well, then who's directing them? Are you directing them, Mr. Musk? And the answer is no, Musk. Musk is not the director of Doge. He's not an employee of Doge. He's not a supervisor of Doge. Because that would make him have to answer these things in court.
Oh.
So Musk is saying, well, no, I'm just an advisor to the president. Well, if that's true, if you're just an advisor, then you have to stop sending out emails. You have to stop telling other departments what they can and cannot do. You have to stop telling other departments they must send out this email or this email, because you're just an advisor. You're not allowed to do anything. And so this is all a big game. Musk and Trump and Doge are just constantly changing what they call themselves to try and prevent these judges from ever knowing what's really happening. They want to keep all of their communications, all of their emails, everything secret.
Yeah.
But of course these are not military secrets. And so they have no business being secret. And as the judges get tired of these games, they're going to start issuing subpoenas for key people, including Musk, to show up in court and testify.
Yeah.
So pretty soon we're going to come down to a battle as to whether the administration is going to follow the law and do what the judges order in terms of providing information, bringing people in to testify, or whether the Trump administration is just going to say, well, we just don't believe in the separation of powers of this Constitution. We think the executive party is at the top and cannot be questioned by the legislative branch, cannot be questioned by the judicial branch, cannot be questioned by the military. We're just at the top of everything and nobody can say anything else. When they make that pronouncement, they are absolutely in violation of the Constitution. So we're very rapidly coming down to a point where the administration and the judges really are going to be in a direct fight over who has power here. The judges have the power by the Constitution to determine what actions by the legislative branch or by the executive branch are constitutional. That is the job of the judicial branch in the Constitution. Trump is trying to pretend that judges who disagree with him, that the executive branch can just remove them, and he's hoping to use that to scare judges into only making decisions that are good for Trump. These are people who have dedicated their entire adult lives to the Constitution and the rule of law.
So they are not afraid of.
And many of them are already, in their late 50s or 60s, and they would like to keep working, but they care more about the Constitution and the country than they care about working.
Yeah, that's good.
And quite frankly, if Trump tries to fire these judges, and if he succeeds in getting rid of a few of these judges, they're going to make 10 times more money as speakers and writing books and things like that. All around the country, all around the world, they're going to become super, super rich. So what Trump is threatening these judges with is, telling them, you're not allowed to do your job as judges. And if you try to do your job and I don't like it, I'm going to remove you and make you rich and famous. Trump doesn't realize that yet because Trump can't think past his next meal. He cannot plan for the future. But that's what happens when you do something like that, is you make those people famous.
Looks like joke in America.
I mean, really, as Canada chose as their leader, somebody with a PhD in economics. Mexico chose as their leader somebody who has a PhD in physics. You got to be really pretty freaking bright to get a PhD in physics. Basically, to have a PhD in physics, you have to know enough math to be a PhD in math as well. That's just the nature of it. America chose a man who got his foot doctor to write a letter saying that he has bone spurs so that he could get out of the draft, and then went on to 6 bankruptcies, as well as financial failure of every other business that he tried to do. Trump Steaks, Trump University, Trump Casinos, all of these things all failed, and his people say, well, he's a deal maker, he's a real estate genius. No, he went bankrupt 6 times. He's not a genius.
No, stupid.
The actual real estate top experts in New York laugh at him as a joke. He was never taken seriously by the real estate world in New York.
Yeah.
Every time he went bankrupt, he just got another loan from his family.
But he is successful.
He's not successful. He got voted in, but he's not actually successful at anything. But he was not successful in his first presidency. He had the lowest approval ratings of any president since we started measuring approval ratings. In this presidency, he has the lowest approval ratings of any president since we started measuring presidents' approval ratings, except for Trump's first term. He is slightly higher than his first term.
Wow.
He didn't win by a large margin. He won by approximately 1% of the voting public. In fact, the people who didn't vote at all was a higher percentage of voters than the people who voted for either Harris or Trump. 36% of voters didn't vote. 31% voted for Harris, and 33%, I think it was, maybe 34%, voted for Trump. But he tries to claim it was a landslide, it was a giant mandate, obviously this is what the country wants. No.
But he says...
1/3 of the country voted for him. 1/3. That is not a mandate.
Anyway, this doesn't matter.
But he likes to claim that the majority of Americans voted for him. That's not true. The majority of Americans didn't vote for anybody.
You don't need me.
Usually it's just nothing for a second person to do.
Okay. I'm glad. I just stand here.